this yourself, okay? So confessional, just have a bit of a reflection. Something you do often that you wish you didn't. So it can be anything. It can be something that you think, a behavior, a habit. Okay, so something that you do often that you wish you didn't. So it could be regretful to you. And the key question then is, would you love to stop it? Would you love to change it? And obviously most people would say, yeah, I'd really like to do that. And also the next question is, if you're aware of what it is, why don't you just stop it? And again, people kind of generally relate to this and think, yeah, I don't know why it is that, I often worry about things quite a lot. The worry seems all consuming, only a few days later that it turns out the thing wasn't even worth worrying about. Our track record of dealing with things that stress us is 100%, otherwise we wouldn't be here. And the same, if it's something like overeating, which again, massive percentages of the population struggle with, we think to ourselves, I make these great plans, but it don't seem able to see it through. And I just wish I was better at doing it. So I think with those two things in mind, getting people in an emotionally stable place and you reflecting on the things in your life that you think, yeah, I mean, if I had the skill set to manage this, that would be, priceless to me. What I'm going to show you here is it's accurate neuroscience. It's just a little bit simplified. But I want you to see if you can take what's on the page and again, apply it to those confession times that you were just getting yourself a minute ago. So when we look inside the brain, we recognize there's certain structures. So anatomically, if we look at them, the structures, but more importantly, the systems which are not in our control. So they're not actually in our direct conscious control. So a really good first example of that, this area here. So this is just above the eyes, just behind the eyes. It's called the orbitofrontal cortex. Now, the important thing about the orbitofrontal is it is scanning and processing information all of the time. And it's there primarily to make sure that it's assessing threats and it's making decisions to keep us alive. Now, this orbitofrontal cortex, this is quite amazing. It's online before we're even born. So it's actually starting to recognize things like the voice of the mother, the sounds that it has in the womb. And then when we're born from day one, it is online. And if you think about it, it's perfectly capable of running your life because it was able to say when you were too cold, when you were hungry, when you were scared, and it's able to trigger responses like our crying or our flight response, our freeze response. So the orbitofrontal has been there since the start. Now, in kind of conjunction with it, from a very early age, again, kind of prenatal really, and certainly in our very earliest years, we start to store information. So I'm going to bring in this yellow system here. So if you imagine this yellow system in the brain to be a little bit like a computer, we can store information in there. So you're this young baby and you're starting to pattern recognize that somebody's going to come and respond to your crying. And that really helps you to build that bond. And we know that unfortunately for people who have adverse childhood experiences, some of the systems within this yellow area don't develop. So actually what we're saying is as an adult, some of the emotional experiences that we have are actually nothing to do with us consciously. They're actually part of the machine that's working in our brain that's developed through our life with us. So again, I'm going to make it really simple. I'm going to call that one the computer like we just did. You can see already I'm starting to bring in these characters because what people have said, medical students, people we work with, they say, God, the orbitofrontal, the ventromedial, this is very, very complex. So for now, I'm going to say there's this chimp, which is there to keep you alive. It's very capable of thinking, but it operates off a principle really of surviving in the jungle. You've got this computer, which for your life is starting to pattern recognize, it's starting to save what you think is important. And also it's giving you pretty automatic responses. So, you know how to walk, you know what the kind of social etiquette is. So this machine is starting to run and really to live your life for you right the way up until about 2 or 3 years old, when finally this dorsolateral part of the brain, this front part of the brain here, really comes online. Now, how do we know it comes online about 2 or 3? Because that's when actually most young children start asking more questions. They start saying, well, why do I have to go to school? And why can't I just eat sweets all day? So actually the little human in them is starting to develop. Now, as you can see, as the brain's developing, you've got the human circuits, which if I put it again into the kind of research on this, the dorsolateral is responsible for our conscious thought. So if I get you in a brain scanner and I get you saying, how do you want to approach this situation? That blue area will be lighting up. So that's our planning. It gives us our ability to actually look for solutions to challenges. So really, we would generally say this is the seat of conscious thought. So I'm going to start calling that you. And now we start to get this kind of key concept, which is actually through life, There's going to be you, how you want to be, the way you'd like to approach situations. However, what most people will say is that's not the me that shows up most of the time. That's not the me that people see when I'm tired. That's not the me that actually goes to the cupboard, opens the biscuit tin and starts digging in. And neuroanatomically, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And the key principle to grasp is your system, your machine at that time is actually hijacking you. Now, this is quite a powerful concept for a lot of people because we can certainly remove a lot of the guilt that often we carry around being too emotional or worrying too much or not being able to control ourselves. By understanding the neuroscience, we start to think, you know what, I've got a really healthy chimp system, which is designed to worry. It should do. I'm more worried if people don't have any worries at all. It's designed to worry. And we've got this computer which is running in the background and advising, but we've never really thought what's in it. We've never really thought about tidying it up to make sure our beliefs and behaviors helpful to us. And as such, it seems to take over and give us some of the emotional instability that we obviously covered at the start of the session.